Hello, everybody. Happy Easter, and wishing you, all you guys who are going to have some time off over this Easter weekend, happy holidays. Maybe your kids are on school holidays and you're all just chilling, so have a good time. Obviously, the weather in the UK is a little bit changeable after those rather, I wouldn't say unprecedented, because it did happen during COVID as well, but that unusually warm March and so far in April that we've been having. Now, what I wanted to talk about is this ongoing stellium happening at the end of Pisces with Mercury and Venus, Saturn, the North Node, and Neptune, which has just gone into Aries, all conjunct. Now, this is really unusual, and the reason it's happened is because Mercury and Venus both went retrograde, reversed into Pisces, went direct, but because they've just gone into a station, they're still moving really slowly, so we've got this like holding position where Saturn and Venus are particularly close together, close to North Node, and Mercury is still within orb of that, while also being conjunct Neptune, the whole thing wrapped up into this rather enigmatic puzzle. And I wanted to relate a few things that have been going on to that. Now, obviously, the themes we have with Pisces and Neptune is all about misdirection, disappointment, new things emerging slowly and subtly, but not perceivably yet. Lots of distractions. And what did we have? Well, first of all, internationally, we had this whole tariff thing, and everyone was talking about the stock market. It was all up and down. That's kind of all stabilized and gone away. Trump's backtracked on the tariffs. Yes, there's still some on China, but no, it's not on Apple. And this has caused some sort of rebalancing and rethink. Now, I know South Africa was particularly badly hit by these tariffs. The rand is only just sort of recovering after a bit of a shock. The UK doesn't seem to have suffered as badly, and Keir Starmer seems to be working a tightrope over this tariff thing, trying to keep one foot in the European camp and one foot with Trump. But where is it all going? And was the whole tariff thing just a huge distraction along with the stock market? Now, a lot of people are saying the real action, which no one's talking about, is the fact that Japan has raised their interest rates. Now, for years, borrowing rates in Japan were incredibly low, around 1%. So it became very cheap for people to borrow in Japan, take that money and invest elsewhere at a high interest rate. But now Japan is putting up the interest rates. There's now an incentive to bring that money back into Japan and maybe sell bonds or whatever it was that people had invested in. And that could result in an outflow of cash from the bond market, resulting in this kind of shock that everyone keeps expecting. And a lot of people are saying the shock won't come from the stock market. That's all illusion, all pump and dump. Nothing really to see there. It's in the bond market. So was the whole Trump tariff thing a massive distraction? Yes, I kind of think it was. People could have said it was 4D waiting for the other side to blink. But, you know, there's this other element of, is bringing back manufacturing to America, is it even possible, as I discussed in my last update? Or is it a rouge? Because when manufacturing is brought back to America, those people don't necessarily, the capitalists or whatever you want to call them, the owners of, don't necessarily want to pay the higher wages. So they are recruiting from the third world. So instead of people who are already in America being employed in the new manufacturing plants, they are simply advertising the jobs in the third world and bringing those people in. So can you see it's lose-lose when you're a person who sort of supports the Trump agenda, wants less immigration, but also wants more manufacturing? It's just not really working out as people think on the surface. Okay, another thing I noticed in my personal life is some friends of mine with Modere. It's kind of one of these online franchisee marketing things where a lot of people become agents, and there's a lot of incentives and hoopla where they win prizes, and it's highly incentivized to be pushy on social media and make sales, and some people do very well at it. Well, that just collapsed on Friday. People weren't paid for March and what they'd made in April. A lot of people were very shocked and disappointed. Now, I do think that a lot of these online franchisee market things are actually Ponzi schemes. They all bound to collapse at one point. They've had their heyday, and I think we'll see a lot more of those collapsing, making it hard for people who do these kind of gigs where they are promoting someone else's products. And in the short term, they seem to be doing very well because they're getting a lot of commission and they're getting a lot of recognition and they're going to all these events and all these ceremonies and they're getting all these fake awards. Well, I said fake awards. They really are achieving the sales, but are the awards part of the whole glamorization of the industry that makes it very attractive for other people to join? But because it's a Ponzi scheme, they need loads and loads of people signing on, but as all Ponzi schemes get unmanageable. So I'm thinking this whole digital marketing, social media marketing franchisee thing could be ready to hit the fan. And that's a lot of independent people who are able to make money for themselves, possibly struggling. So I see the job market getting harder for people who are working online. Now, we also had the issue where Stripe was, the Stripe payment system was banned from Odyssey. So we have loads of streamers on Odyssey, suddenly without an income stream. We also have BitChute, which is no longer being able to operate in the UK because of the online safety bill. We have the Gab withdrawing from the UK. So when it comes to freedom of speech, Mercury conjunct Neptune being taken away, eroded, disappearing. And I mean, look, a lot of people won't notice because if you only use your free speech to talk about Big Brother or the Great British Bake Off or whatever, then you're not going to notice when it's disappearing. But they don't want criticism, really, this government. I mean, and another thing, this whole net zero facade, everything that's happening is showing this whole net zero thing is just impossible. Yet they keep up the act. It's almost like our government in the UK particularly, but I'm sure it's true of many governments, it's like a theatre production and everyone's booing and throwing tomatoes or walking out the theatre, but they carry on regardless, keeping on with the script, even though no one's with it. They've lost support, but somehow they cannot be evicted off the stage yet. There's no mechanism for it. Now, we have in the UK some guy who's come out of nowhere, always suspicious, and he's talking about the Great British Strike that's going to take place on a Saturday. Strike on a Saturday, very effective, yeah. Only going to affect really small businesses and independent people who will tend to work on a Saturday, but all the big companies who only work weekday will not be affected. So that's kind of stupid. It's happening in May sometime. And he's been all over the media, but he wouldn't go on UNN. Invited 3 times, flaked out, because that's one of the places he might have got some pushback. So I think this is all just a big release valve. It's another rouge. They know people are angry, so they want people to buy into that avenue. And I think increasingly in the UK and all other countries, the more people get angry with the amount of taxes, the loss of services, bins, collections, Birmingham, we've all seen that, and the general decay of culture, society, the economy, they are going to create release valves. So they'll have fake heroes cropping up, saying all the right things. So people will keep following them, investing their hopes in them, thinking, this person will do it. This person's going to bring the change, but it never will. I mean, people are going to have to make hard decisions. And the only real way to create change is is going to be to do something a little bit more difficult than liking and following people or signing petitions, which people continue to do, even though history shows these petitions, nothing comes of them. People continue to ask for inquiries. Inquiries are only a way of whitewashing something and therefore legitimizing government's actions. They never result in prosecutions. Do you notice no one in government seems to be held accountable for anything at all? They just simply move departments. I've also noticed now that a lot of marketing, a lot of selling online is simply telling people about something. And yet there's more money in regurgitating the message than actually doing the thing. So for example, you can start 1 million TikTok videos or blogs on how to get more TikTok followers or how to make money. And then the people who watch those videos are better off creating another video telling people how to get more TikTok followers and how to make more money, rather than actually implementing any of the tips. There's no capital out of implementing the tips. The tips themselves are worthless. You make money by keeping regurgitating the tips, and other people keep watching them. Certain amount of people will put them into action and find they don't work, and then they'll simply look for someone else giving different tips, which also won't work. But the best thing to do is just be the person giving the tips, giving the diet tips, the business tips, the crypto tips, but don't be the person using the tips, because then you're going to make no money.